Hey guys, Juti here, and it's time to look at the Devil Jin changes for Season 2. First things first, let's look into the new moves. He has his new Hell Sweep extension only during heat. It's the Crouch Dash for 3, and I can't wait to see what kind of crazy damage people are going to come up with this one after they've optimized their stuff. And then the next new move is kind of a new extension for down forward 1, so it's the mid extension down forward 1-4. On hit, he can then transition into Mourning Crow by pressing forward afterwards. It's not a natural combo, and if the extension is blocked, it is -13. The next two new moves pertain to the stances Mourning Crow and During Fly. So during these two stances, he can execute 4-2-1 into up forward, which ends with Heaven's Gate. And it's going to be interesting as a combo ender because of course this also breaks floors, so it's potentially also going to be a combo starter given a floor break stage. Next of course is during Mourning Crow or Fly 2-1, which is going to be the mid-high out of that stance, and I think they're just doing this so that the stance is going to be used in neutral more. And the next new move only pertains to Mourning Crow, and that is the 1+2. So this is a high unblockable. It kind of works like the one he had out of heat. However, this doesn't do as much damage, and the other one is still available. I'll get to that in a moment. What's also listed as a new move, but is actually an old one, is back forward 2-3. Now on a successful hit, you can press forward and he will transition into Mourning Crow. But what is actually more significant is now this move wall splats again, like it used to in Tekken 7. On top of that, it is better when it comes to tracking on the second hit. And it's more advantageous on block, meaning before it used to be -9 on block, and now it's -5, so it's been buffed quite a bit. So now a couple of input changes. So Hellfire Cannon, which is up 1+2, can now also be performed with up back 1+2. Don't worry, that move which had that input is still there. I'll get into it in a bit. What we also got for a change is during heat in Mourning Crow 1+2, which used to be before the input during heat during Mourning Crow 1+3. This used to be the unbreakable throw which I mentioned before, right? And what they've done here is that, of course, they've changed the input, but now this move doesn't use up the whole heat gauge anymore. It uses about 1/3 of the heat gauge. So the move I mentioned previously, Hellfire Blast, which was previously executed with up back 1+2, is now executed by pressing down back 1+4. It's a change we'll have to just get used to. So next change is during heat. So during heat, quickly pressing 4-3 into 1+2, or also during heat, back forward 2-1-4 into 1+2. Or of course during heat, Crouch Dash 1+2, 1+2. It doesn't seem much at first, but in reality what's going on here is that on block the opponent is closer to you. That means you can just pressure them more easily because you're at +2. Before it didn't really mean anything because they were just too far away. Now it can mean a bit of something, +2 at that distance. So next up we have during Mourning Crow 3. And what they've done now is that it now directly puts your opponent in Tornado, right? So no more counter hits needed for that, it just does that directly. And the other change is that during your opponent being in a down state, the behavior has been changed. So what happens is that now you can get easier follow-up. So in other words, you can get Demon Steel Pedal by pressing back 4 automatically after. Next on the balancing scale is of course during Mourning Crow or during Fly 4-1+2. Now the input has been slightly changed so that on the second hit is when you input the 1+2, so you can no longer mash it. It'll make more sense in a moment. What they've also done is that they've adjusted the second hit, which can now be performed even after the first hit is blocked or whiff. Of course, this makes sense, these two changes make sense because he got new moves out of Mourning Crow. So if you could just mash things, you would accidentally maybe get the other one. So now you have to be slightly more precise, but in all honesty, it's still very generous. And what they've also done is that they've worked on the collision detection to, of course, make the move more consistent so that characters don't accidentally switch positions. Down forward 1-2 got a welcome buff. It's now a natural combo, and especially together with the new mid extension which you received is quite a good buff overall to the string. And what's also happened with down forward 1-2 is that it's changed the behavior on hit. So the opponent lands closer to Devil Jin, and they also land on their belly with their heads towards Devil Jin. So that's a very advantageous situation for him when it comes to Okizeme. Next up is down forward 2. What they've done is that they've buffed the tracking to the right. So that's a nice little buff for him regarding that move. Then we have down 1, which is his power crush move. They have expanded the hitbox downwards. So all what it does is be more consistent now. Demon Steel Pedal back 4 has also received a buff on hit. So on hit now what it is the case is that the opponent is closer to Devil Jin, so because he's plus he can get the mix-up game going more. Next change pertains to his hell sweep, his regular hell sweep, the crouch dash 4-4. What's the case now is that it used to be plus 4 on block, and now it's quite a massive plus 7 on block. So yeah, more mix-ups after that. Then we have crouch dash 1+2, his new move from Tekken 8, so from season 1. What's happened here is that they've changed the behavior on hit. What's happens now is that the opponent is closer to Devil Jin, so he gets the follow-up easier guaranteed. And what they've also done is that they've buffed the advantage on block. It used to be -9, now it's -5. So we have Wild Rising 4-4. What they've done here is that on hit, it's also been buffed just like with the Hell Sweep. Instead of being +5 on hit, it's now +7. And now something which is slightly a bit more complicated during Mourning Crow, so they've done numerous changes here. So firstly to the first hit. The first hit on block used to be -13, it's now -9. And on hit it used to be -5 and it's now -1 on hit. So it's been buffed overall in that regard. And what they've also done is that the second hit's tracking has also been buffed, but only if the first hit connects, so it's more about consistency. That means that if you of course sidestep the first hit, the second one will still win. Apart from that, it's also received a couple of hurtbox buffs, once again to mitigate inconsistencies and whiffing, and of course as I mentioned before, they've reduced the tracking on the second hit only in the scenario that the first hit whiffs. Back 1+2 also received a buff, and it used to be -1 on block, and now it's +3, so maybe we'll be seeing this move more often. And it's been nerfed also in the regard that it does less chip damage. It used to do 6, now it just does 4. In my opinion, you could also just do 3, that would also be fine. And we also got another fix pertaining to Devil Jin's down 3+4. What they've done here is that they've added tracking properties to the second kick, because sometimes for no reason it would whiff, so now it should be more consistent. Also, stuff in consistency is up forward 4. What they've done is that the hitbox has been extended downwards, just because sometimes this move would whiff for no reason, so now it should be more consistent. We're nearing the end, so we have up 4, and what's happened here is that they've adjusted the collision detection, so it's not really clear exactly where, but it's, in my guess, it would be when the move lands and whiffs, so that sometimes the opponent will try to punish you, and because Devil Jin recovers in a crouch state, even your mids will not punish him properly. So that shouldn't be the case anymore. And the same change also pertains to during fly 1+2 or the other laser version during fly forward 1+2. He also recovers in crouch when he lands, and just like with up 4, sometimes your mid would whiff, and it's the same fix which they applied here. So that brings us to the end of Devil Jin Season 2 changes. Thanks for watching till now. You can of course leave in the comment section what of the changes you liked, which ones you didn't like, or which ones you wanted to see. For me personally, I think Forward 2 could have used a slight buff. Not anything major, just maybe a range buff of like 5% maybe, like something very small, because I think he has the worst version of such moves compared to Jin and Kazuya and Lee. Yeah, you know the drill by now. If you want to, you can subscribe. If you don't want to, that's cool with me, but at least consider leaving a like, because that helps with the algorithm. This is your boy Jehuti, and I'll be making more changelog videos.